Welcome to Dare to Be Seen, episode 7. And we are so excited to bring the conversations that we have in store for you guys today. This interview series features incredible transformational guides and channels leading the edge when it comes to spiritual evolution and in humanity. These women are a permission slip for others. Women who have dared to go all in their visibility, in their authentic expression, and are now serving clients around the world and leading beautiful, aligned communities and brands as a result of giving themselves permission to be all that they came here to be. And this interview series is brought to you by Born to Be Seen. I want to share with you a little bit more about Born to Be Seen. This is a free-day experience, a free 3-day experience to collapse ancestral programming and timelines to access even more divine visibility with your channeled work. And it is so important that we step into a greater level of the spotlight, into our beautiful brands in a way that feels aligned, fun, sustainable, and where the light of our radiance is coded, just like we are here coding this earth in our social media, in our digital presence. For when you infuse the light of your soul and the light of your life families and your soul blueprint and all that you are into the digital space, you turn your existing online presence into a beautiful quantum architecture of divine influence. And of course, because it all stems from us, it all stems from our unique fractal, our expression, our authenticity. This is a major and key piece. So you will find more about Born to Be Seen in the official page with all the interviews for Dare to Be Seen. And there is also a dedicated link in the bio of Missioned Soul. And so, without further ado, I want to bring this incredible woman that since I connected with, it's been like, I love you. She is joining us from London, and I want to bring the one and only Lisa Moore. So excited to have you here.
Hello.
Hello. Oh
Can
my
you see me
goodness.
okay?
Yes, I can see you perfectly. Can you see me?
I can, yeah. Always have to readjust the camera when we start an IG live because I'm never in the right place.
Yes. It has happened to me. Oh my goodness. But I can see you perfectly. And thank you so much for saying yes to the invitation, Lisa. A lot of people in my community that they don't know you because it's like we kind of like cross paths from like a different place, in this internet space. And so if you could please share with us a little bit of who you are, what you do, and who your work is for.
Okay, so, well, first of all, thank you for having me on. Honestly, I was so honoured when you said that you wanted to have me on to talk about daring to be seen because it's something I'm so deeply passionate about. So I am a truth activator and a speaker, and my work is for soul-led visionaries, creatives, entrepreneurs, healers, coaches, anyone who is here to shift the paradigm. So, and I know that obviously is you being a mission soul. So as soon as I found you online, I was like, I'm totally vibing because, this is the lifetime. We've been training for this 4 lifetimes. And my mission is to play my part in helping us co-create a new unified world. So my work is for anyone who resonates with that mission. And what I do is I create activations that basically activate your soul's remembrance. Kind of what I've come to realize is my gift is that I just being in my presence, people get these kind of crazy downloads and they start to remember their soul's truth. So it kind of, I found that I was personally circling. I was kind of in a healing loop for quite a while, and it took for someone who was also an activator to kind of say something that was like a lightning bolt that like slapped me in the face. And I was like, oh, hang on a minute. I'm not seeing the fullness of who I truly am. And that kind of helped me realize that that's actually what I do for other people. So I help them remember their soul's truth and activate their soul's creativity so that they can fully create their chosen reality and to play their part in co-creating this new unified world. So so my work is basically based on 5 years of very deep research. I have so much Scorpio in my chart, you might not be surprised. So yeah, very deep research into the deepest collectively held subconscious limiting beliefs, feelings and programs. I'm also a Virgo sun, so I've literally documented everyone that I found, and I'm up to 3,500. And what I came to realize was, as I was doing this for myself, because my own healing journey started 5 years ago, so I started documenting mine and then added them. Since working with others, I've been adding them on. Is that I came to realize that obviously a lot of them are individually held, but actually a lot of them are collectively held, and it's literally the 3D matrix that we've all agreed to. So I then came to realize through my own kind of evolution of training as a theta healer with someone else's modality, and then having that that person who activated me, I was like, oh wow, okay, actually it's not aligned for me to be trained in someone else's modality. This is my unique gift. I've got all of this research. I don't know anyone else on the planet that has done the collectively held subconscious limiting beliefs research that I've done. And actually, I want to pour all of those into activations around specific themes. Activate Your Divine Visibility is on its way, by the way, because it's so big. So I've started with the core ones of Activate Your Divine Essence. Then I've gone to Boundaries, and then I've gone to Divine Feminine, Divine Masculine. I know we're going to talk about the witch wounds, so that's covered in Activate Your Divine Feminine. But yeah, visibility is kind of, I'm a manifestor in human design, and I'm feeling the universe is saying to me, visibility needs to come out next because it's just so important. So yeah, my activations work on the collective level as well as the individual level, because I believe that if as many, if the critical mass of people can work at the collective level as well as the individual level, then that will create what I call a herd healing effect. So, like herd immunity, when a critical mass of people become immune, it doesn't need everyone to become immune, just a critical mass of people become immune, then the virus dies. So I'm like, right, if a critical mass of us can focus on the collectively held subconscious limiting beliefs that created the matrix that we're in, because we all collectively created this over thousands of years. So if we can all shift these at the collective level, as well as obviously that impacts our own life, because these things, each activation only takes an hour, but it will literally shift you 5 years worth of healing. Like what would the world look like? Because obviously, as we know, the inner world creates the outer world. So I'm very much here on a collective mission. I'm a mission soul. I'm here for it. And hopefully that was a not too long summary of myself and what I do.
But it's deep, and it's like, it's important because this is the level of like the conversation on how, for example, and I love that we know about similar things, but we have different language. I also love that a lot of your language has come from your own experience. Tell me you're a Virgo without telling me you're a Virgo, like documenting all of these plugins, programs, subconscious stuff. And exactly right, like, so it's like, as you were speaking, for example, like one of the things that comes to my mind is how a frequency that is higher will elevate like the lower frequencies. And so if enough light beings, if enough activated beings doing the, do the deep work, which it doesn't always need to look like going into the depths of the healing, right? As you were saying, oh my God, like this is like, it has no end, another life, another trauma, right? But if we go into, expanding more into the truth of our divinity, into the truth of who we are, then there is a field holding the matrix at a much higher frequency, much higher octaves. And this is so much in alignment with what we see today, I believe, which is like the earth is ascending. People can accelerate so much their own healing.
Yeah.
It takes way less like time and going into the nitty gritty. Less people resonate with the shadow and all of this, and it's like, yeah, I commit to do the work, but also like, because this is activating me into the truth of who I am, which is also why I love that you are here, because you call yourself a truth activator. Like, this is one of the things that you are an embodiment of. And so this leads me to my next question, which is, would you say there is a relation between activating your soul's truth and seeing yourself at an even deeper level?
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. Like, my journey has, I've gone so deep, and it's amazing how much you can just continue discovering who you are, because we're like the entire universe in a human physical body. I think we're infinite on the inside, just like the universe is infinite on the outside. So there's always more to learn and more to discover. And I love that. I'm so lit up by that. And I think, just to kind of tie that into what you were saying, I think we've been through some really heavy layers of healing, and some people who are on, just starting their journey now will have to go through that. I don't think anyone can kind of bypass that bit. But I think if you've been on your healing journey for a while, and because the frequency is raising, we can actually start healing faster and quicker. And that was why I had to let go of my old modality and step into my own gift, because when I was creating my activations that had that modality in them, instead of just being my own unique expression, it was so heavy. And I was like, oh my, I felt exhausted after creating each one. And I'm like, it shouldn't be like this, because if I'm creating it with that energy, that's what someone's going to feel. So that's when I kind of gave myself permission to let that go. And then it's just my own channeled work. And I think as the frequency is raising, if you've done a lot of work, then it doesn't have to be heavy and hard anymore. So for people who are ready for my level of frequency, because I do see my energy like yours, it's a portal, it's a bridge to kind of them understanding themselves at a deeper level and like really reaching that soul truth. And I think I can't remember where I was going with this. Where was I going? I have no idea. I got distracted by my own thought that just
Well,
popped
you
in.
were talking about, like the people who are healing, people who get the opportunity to heal
Yeah,
faster, claiming gift.
yeah. So sorry, yeah, thank you for that. So I do think over time, because the frequency is raising, we can heal faster. And that's why I also want to offer like very deep collective healing, but that's quick and that's fast and that kind of gets you there in an hour for people who are ready. But then funny enough, I was having this conversation with my partner earlier today. I'm like, I don't think you can bypass at any point, but I think if enough of us, which I call the herd healing, is raising the frequency, then I think people who are only just starting can move through those layers faster. I don't think they can ever just like jump up to where we are, because it's too much for their nervous systems. But I think they can move through it faster, and therefore they're going to catch up with us faster. And to your point about how, if enough of us will raise the frequency, kind of how I see it is that it's my job to create my own golden divine kingdom that's on planet Earth, that is my chosen reality. It's got, everything I would want to have in my kingdom. And my job is also to help other people create theirs. And it could be as luxurious and lavish as they want, or it could be as, humble and, you know, whatever, like everyone gets to choose what their dream life looks like. We're so conditioned to believe it's all about the money, and it's not necessarily. So, and I believe if enough of us have these like golden kingdoms, they're like the pyramids, you know, they're the ley lines. They activate the light grid on planet Earth. So that's kind of what I see as my mission, is to create mine to show others that it's possible, it's safe, and they've got permission to do the same. And then when enough of us create those, that's when the frequency raises and we'll activate these pyramids, golden kingdom pyramids, which is our own unique world. We've got 8 billion people on the planet, and I believe we have 8 billion worlds all happening simultaneously that contribute to the collective world. So yeah, we just need enough of us light workers, solar visionaries, paradigm shifters, whatever you want to call us, to create our own golden kingdoms and to help others do the same. And then it will have this like ripple effect, and more will pop up.
I love that, and I agree 110% with all of what you're saying, because when you see it at the point of a golden architecture, a golden quantum architecture in this earth, there are already crystalline grids and golden architecture that have reactivated so much, especially over the last few years. And all of this is bringing the true memory of what is available for humanity, that we were never meant to be or see ourselves as descendants of monkeys, less than, unevolved, blah blah blah. It's like our bodies are technologies of ascension. Our bone marrows are no different than a crystal that is interfacing with the grids of the planet. And then when you add this level of mastery, right? Like, for example, in my mystery school, this is a lot of what we do, because yes, it's the personal level, but then like what happens when you fully unleash, and when every offering, for example, like I see like the activations that you are creating, these activations are conscious beings. They are like a light beam, no difference. Every time we create a coded offering, a coded transmission, events, even these interviews, when they are coded from this light, and we have activated more of our golden DNA, crystalline DNA, it's like they are a consciousness in itself that keeps creating this ripple effect. And then of course, like, you pour all of this into a proper architecture of digital influence. Like, people can come to your page and receive the frequency, people can download the activation, like all of this. And I absolutely love that you're bringing this visual of the pyramids, because it's something pretty much like this, but it looks also like I don't know if you've ever seen it like this. It's like a meme. It's an image of like the Giza pyramids, but they go so much deeper. And then so we have the collective work of people who are entering into these higher realms of consciousness, and the frequency is coming from the core of Gaia and these grids. And this is such a moment to be alive, because it's like it's like it's nothing can stop this, let's say.
Yeah, and I think, you know, I've stopped watching the news ages ago, and now and again I've said to my partner, I'm like, just update me on the really important stuff so that I know. And I think it's so interesting, because if you listen to the news every day, I mean, you may as well just be like, you know, but every time something happens, I'm just like, this is all part of the plan. Like, you know, some beings have come here to be assholes, because this is what creates the tension for us to kind of like, right, we need to do this inner work, you know? So I'm pretty much like, okay, whatever, you know. I truly believe that everything, you know, like you said, we're on this ascension path and it's happening. And the more the beings who are here to be lower frequency, to play their part, the more that they are going to dig their heels in, but the more that that's actually going to create the tension for even more uplift. So it brings me comfort to feel that. So that's kind of like where I go with it. But then I just don't even watch the news now anyway. It's so much easier.
You know, and that's That's the thing. In my view also, it's that you cannot create a new world if you are
Right.
still
Yeah.
empowering an old world. Like we didn't come here to fix
Yeah.
a world or realities that God created over the course of thousands of years, or yes.
Hmm.
And also there's the forgotten story history of this planet. There's like
Yeah.
how many golden civilizations, how
Yeah.
many indigenous civilizations, like people who were connected to Gaia from their heart. And so like it is so easy to just get lost and see like, oh my God, this is shit. But it's like this is why it is so important that more of us and more conscious beings stop projecting shit onto Gaia, because it's like if it's like, yes, if you just focus on people who are doing shitty things, the next thing you know is you are in that planet. But
Yeah.
we are do not live on the same planet.
Yeah.
And even 2020, that was really obvious that we are not all on the same planet. There are countless versions of Earth,
Hmm.
and taking this ownership of, okay, but what am I here to create? What am I here to
Yeah.
empower? I feel it where, okay, now we have like, oh, actually there's potential, there's energy that builds structures, there are other people. You know how also a lot of people fear entering into more visibility and entering into more of who they are and their truth, because they fear either leaving people behind,
Yeah.
or I'm gonna be alone, which is another
Yeah.
another plugging, another energetic plugging that it is not
Yeah.
true. But actually, there are so many of us that it's like,
Hmm.
oh, they're my crazy ones, the
Yeah.
weird ones. There
Yeah.
they is.
And
Yes.
I think also as well, that whole fear of like leaving loved ones behind and doing it alone, I think that that comes from the witch wound, you know, when we lost everything because we were our true selves. We led with our hearts, you know, we spoke from our hearts, and we lost everything. And if you want to go kind of even back further than that, it was the split when, you know, we're going through, or I believe that the Mother Earth goes through like cycles, thousands and thousands of years, and we, you know, we contract back to source, and then we expand, and you know, we've been in this, I don't know how many thousands of years cycle of going into wounded energy from separation. And you know, that was when we went for the divine union of masculine and feminine. We split and it became wounded masculine and wounded feminine. And then that's obviously a byproduct of that is the witch wound. So it's like over thousands of probably millions of years, then, you know, we've become separated inside of ourselves. You know, that's why I believe we all have to activate our divine feminine inside and our divine masculine to transmute the wounds into our divinity, and then to unite those on the inside. And I think, you know, going through the witch wound, as you know, that's a relatively recent experience in history, is that, you know, we put everything on the line and we lost our soul tribe. So I think it's no wonder that we are so scared to kind of show back up and be visible, because we will fear losing all of that again. We'll fear losing our loved ones, we'll fear being killed, rejected, misunderstood, sad, alone, persecuted, all of that stuff. But it's kind of a vicious cycle, because to reconnect with our soul tribe, we have to show up and be visible and be like, hey, I'm here. And then it's like, oh God, you know, I'm not alone. But
Mm,
we're so conditioned to believe that we're going to be alone and we're going to lose everything because we did. But the solution is to face the fear and be visible again and share our voice. And everything that we did as witches, and previous to that, I'm sure there's been more cycles of it, to face that fear. And I kind of also believe that that's the mission, is to once again face the fear. And but this is the lifetime where things actually really will shift. It's been like practice runs up until now, and this is the lifetime where think we're going to see changes like that we haven't seen for, you know, millennia. I'm sure this cycle has happened many times before, but you know, for a very long time. So I think that's really exciting. And you know, suppressing our voice so that it's not being, you know, we fear that it's going to be silenced, it's going to be stolen, it's going to be taken away, when actually it's what liberates you. Just facing that fear and being seen means that you connect with your soul tribe. You know, we found each other because we were both online being visible and being seen, and that's part of the healing, I think.
I love that. I believe so. And I also feel that a lot of this comes up now because, and part of the reasons why this is the work where, well, as we were talking about before, is like this field, this collective, like the healing herd, as you call it. I will call that like a grid as well. This morphogenetic field that we are connected to, all of this, but it's like a part of the another big reason I see that this is coming up is because this time we ascend with our bodies. It's
Yeah.
not like boom, light, and then it's like vanish, whatever other dimension. It's like we do it in the bodies. And all of these imprints are stored in our DNA. Some people have it like in their galactic cosmic DNA, in the human DNA for all of us that have had like multiple incarnations. And it's like, but as we go into the wound, we will finally see the light. Because I don't know about you, but for me, for example, like when I've been into the thick of it, like into the deepest of these programs, all these programs that you mentioned. Another one is I'm gonna die because if I don't do it myself, who's gonna do it? I'm alone.
Yeah.
It's all on me.
Yeah.
And but then, like it's like when I've been going like down that rabbit hole, which by the way, I want to say for everyone listening and really receiving the codes from this conversation, the question personally that has helped me the most, like uncover what's the deepest truth is, soul, what's the truth? So it's like in those moments, just connecting with your heart consciousness, your soul, asking what's the truth. And for me, like one of the ones that shone like so bright was like, soul, what's the truth? It's like, well, or you know, it's like this thing of this threat of, because if I don't do it, I'm gonna die because I am alone, because God betrayed me. And
Yeah.
when our DNA holds the freaking imprint of God betrayed me,
Yeah.
we are not fully ready to surrender into oneness consciousness. The one field that unifies it all
Yeah.
feels unsafe at
Yeah.
a very ancient and deep level.
Yeah. And like underneath even God betrayed me is I betrayed myself, because we are God, right? So it's like can we even trust ourselves?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's like then that becomes a real
Yes.
head fuck, you know?
Yeah. Yes, because it's like, because you put your trust, you know, it's like when I trust in someone and they betray me, who's the stupid, who's the one to blame?
Yeah.
So again, myself, right?
Yeah.
When in actuality, the greater architecture of those dynamics was so much bigger. So like
Yeah.
this is what we're going deep on the 3-day experience. I invite you to be there live, to receive, to share the energies, deep collective work as well, deep grid work. But it's like exactly at the end of it all is just this looping of it all goes back to you,
Yeah.
it all goes back to God, and then it all goes back to
Yeah.
and what we like. I'm about to post something, I'm about to raise my prices and say online, you know, the new price, whatever it is, and it's like, why do I feel this way?
Yeah.
And very important what you were saying, we don't get to bypass that shit.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
actually we feel it and we have this level of consciousness, it is for us to do the work.
Yeah, there's two things coming to mind, which is that at the very deepest level, you know, we are God. You know, we are unique fractals from the source. So there isn't any separation between God and us. And that's why I said, you know, at the deepest level, God betrayed us. I betrayed myself because I am a unique extension of God. But also, I think the deepest thing that we fear is our own power. We fear it so deeply, and then and when I say we, our ego fears it, you know. And then this leads me on to the second point, is that I totally agree, this is the lifetime where it's about grounding the higher frequencies into Mother Earth. And I think there's you know, there's a lot of talk once you start kind of ascending, it's like, you know, I just want to kind of like leave Mother Earth and just like float off because life would be a lot easier. And it's like, No, that's not what we're here for. We are here to bring heaven to earth, to the physical plane. The higher we go, the deeper we have to root into the fact that we're human and not bypass that. And I think, there's the spiritual bypass is like, I just want to be soul. And it's like, no. And then the ego bypass is like, that soul thing, I only believe in what's material in front of me. What's all this kind of spiritual nonsense? And it's like, no, we are here to integrate the two and literally work with the two as integrated souls and humans, and not bypass either. So I truly believe it's about bringing heaven to earth and not floating off anywhere.
I love that. Well, my love, thank you so, so much for being here today, for joining this series of conversations. And before we go, as a woman in mission, leading from what lights you up, what is on the other side? What would you say that is on the other side of having done the work and now being like free, or even more free from all of those programs, to the point where you can now own your truth, your soul truth, and show up with this energy online and for your mission?
I mean, the first word that came to mind, you've already said it, is freedom. That's what it is. It's freedom to be yourself, to express your unique creativity without anyone else's like, well, you can't do that. You haven't got a certification for it. You can't say this. You can't say that. It's freedom to express your soul's truth and your creativity, and to pour that into the golden kingdom, or the pyramid in your case, whatever it looks like to you, to create that world, and which is your life. Create the life in the way that lights you up, so that every day you are jumping out of bed and like, I'm freaking alive. And that's not saying, you're not. I was talking to someone the other day, and it's not about always being in the high vibes, but it's about navigating the emotions of being human. And like, sometimes you have good days, sometimes you have bad days, but you don't get lost in those. You can still have that moment of like, I get to feel anger, I get to feel sadness, but you're observing it and you're like, okay, I know how to work with this, I know how to transmute it. Tomorrow's going to be a better day. And on the whole, I think the more that we work with that, the more we will have more good days than bad days. And therefore, we're just happy to be alive. We're surrounded by our soul tribe again, who we've reconnected with. We're with our families. And something I've learned is that I was terrified to kind of ascend and leave them behind. But actually, all it does is it brings you closer together, because you've got more love and more compassion and more understanding. And you realize that they don't need to understand you for you to be who you are, because you've got your soul tribe that you can have the deep conversations with. So it's about creating that dream world and reality, which is your life. And as you do that, you feel free, but you also feel fulfilled, because you are playing your part in the soul mission that you came here, which is the collective one, to create a new unified world together. So that's what I feel is on the other side.
I love that so much. I got so many chills. Thank you so much, Lisa. And for everyone here, soaking on this energy and wanting to know more about your activations, receiving them, and your work, what would be the best way to connect with you and find you?
So on Instagram, I'm sure it's tagged here, but I'm at House of Guilt, GILT, because it means gold on purpose. So gilt.co, and then that's also my website. So www.houseofguilt.co. So yeah, we're here to transmute the fear, shame, and guilt, the GUILT, into gold, because yeah, that's what we're here to do. So they're the two places to find me, connect with me, send me an email, send me a DM, let's chat.
I love that. Well, thank you so much.
My
it's
love.
a pleasure to see you again and to have you here. And thank you. And yeah, wish you the best day ever.
Thank you for having me. It's been an honor. And yeah, I love chatting to you. All right, my love.
Thank
See you soon. Bye.